of the shining moon, heaven, earth, and sea, I call upon you in this hour, bring magic unto me. Brothers, oh, the cauldron cries, it singeth unto me. Songs of Mother Goddess and the Father in the tree.
Hello, my lovelies. How are you this glorious evening? We're off adventuring into the spaces between because, hey, yes, gotta have an adventure, right? I tell you, some days I am just not allowed around the technology because I always forget to turn something on. Often it's the microphone. So I hope everyone is doing well. Holy cow, oh, look at y'all in the chat rooms. Goodness. Um, so just um, we are being broadcast live, just so you know, on Truth Frequency Radio, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live, and we're also on YouTube. So if you're over there, make sure you hit the like button. That's the thumbs up one, by the way, and make sure you do stop and say hi, no matter which chat room you're in, or if you're listening later. If you're not in chat, send me an email. It's wildpaisley@gmail.com. That's WILDEPAISLEY@gmail.com. Oops, I think I left that outside too long. It's frozen. Anyways, and if you do want to support the show, please do so. That can be done at www.etsy.com/shop/Monarch Mountain Studio. Mountain is MTN. Or you can do that at the Patreon. That's patreon.com/the spaces between. And hey, guess what? I did do something right because the call line is open, and that can be found at 213-233-3998. Or if you're across the pond in the UK, that would be 44203-393-2871. So yes, hello. In chats, I see Lucky. Hey, Lucky. Bam. Ruthie. Hello, hello. And who else is in here? Blacktree, hey Julia. Give your little ones goodnight hugs. Cameron, Nace, Deb, Elaine, Ethan, Jody, MCAT, Mr. Wynn, Nessie, Stacy, and Titan. And if I missed you, I'm sorry. I see you, I think. Anyways, if you are here, hello, hello. Hi, Renee. I did miss one. Anyways, so yes, big comfy armchair. I hear that one. Um, Giggles, yes. Oh, I tell you, technology is fun, especially when the power goes out. I don't know where y'all are all at, but here in the Pacific Northwest, specifically North Idaho, we had just awesomely miserable, cold, windy weather today. I would swear I was in Minnesota, as cold as it has been, and blowy. Goodness. And wind was blowing, trees fell down, power was out. Not here, actually, although it flickered a couple times. And then internet issues, and just, I gotta tell you, sometimes being in the Pacific Northwest, where internet is slow anyways, trying to get anything accomplished is an adventure. Hey, Lois. Although I think the low tonight is in the single digits, like 7 or 8, I think, if I remember right. Hey, Brent. The high for Monday is like 45. So, yeah, very cold, Ruthie. We're going to have like a 40-degree temperature change in the next 2 days. And by Wednesday, it's supposed to be in the 50s. So, thanks, Lewis. And I got to tell you, it's cold, and I want that warmer weather. Magic prayer of healing. Okay. So Ethan says he needs magic prayer of healing. Ethan, I need some more details, dude. I can do general stuff, yes, but if you really want something specific, or you mean just in general, I don't know. Details. So anybody who's ever done energy work, just so you know, often You can really feel your energy. Yes, right there. Um, to focus it, I need a little bit more information. I can send it to you if you need it, though. Um, I gotta tell you, watching the headlines and everything. Yes, Ethan, send me an email, and I'll get you some more deets that way. Oh, for the population, yeah, that's one I do need to do. Yeah, I gotta tell you, the headlines these days are quite interesting, and I don't normally want to talk about headlines because it's not my jam, it's not my gig, it's not what we do here. Normally, we talk about pagan stuff, esoteric stuff, witchy stuff, you know, rocks, crystals, magic, etc., etc., etc. And you know, that that's more what I want to do, and the meaning of different things that we experience, and just the different beings that we experience out in the world. Um, here, today it's a frost giant. I'm just saying, but in general, what's out there. But yeah, it's I don't know. There's just some craziness happening. This coronavirus. I have to tell you, is a bit of a mystery to me. So on the one hand, I am not really buying into it because it's people get sick all the time, right? And it happens, and viruses happen, and illness happens, and all that happens as part of the cycle of life. Hi, Flat Soda. I see you there. Um, and so for me, death isn't really that scary. I guess. I'm not. I don't fear it. I'm not embracing it. I mean, it just is. Death is just like life is. It's just two separate sides to the same coin, or if you will. And you can't. You don't get out of life without dying. You can't move from this life to the next one without dying. But I understand that not every path of death is the same, and it doesn't all have the same level of experience. And often the avenue to death is traumatic, not just for yourself, but for others. And sometimes the trauma for others is significantly less, or more, I should say, or less than it is for you. And so, in a way, I guess mentally, I feel a little insulated from all the panic that's happening out there. Now, that being said, I do have loved ones that I'm worried about, whether they actually live close by or near any of the hot spots, or am I worried about it, being in my home or with my immediate social group or family? Not as much. And in a way, yeah, Mr. Wynn pegs it just exactly for the win. It feels very surreal with all the panic buying. And I see all the memes with the toilet paper, which I think are hilarious, and the wet wipes and the hand sanitizer out there, and there's this guy over on the East Coast that bought like $17,000 worth of stuff, thinking he'd be able to sell it on eBay and make a killing, and he got shut down, and now he's got a garage full of toilet paper and wet wipes and hand sanitizer. Not necessarily the best choice for him, but I do find it amusing. But what do we do in the face of this kind of insanity and surreality? Because it's not reality. It's surreality. Yeah, it's not really a word, I think, but I'm making it one. And what do we do? What do we do? Yesterday we talked about stones and crystals and different ways to kind of ground yourself, if you will, and calm down. And yeah, Don, I know they're not good deaths. They are very painful. A lot of them have to do with advanced pneumonia and losing your life due to being unable to breathe is kind of a big, ugly, icky thing, and it's not pretty. So I don't know. So what do we do? Well, support each other. I think first and foremost, support each other. Be there for one another. I see a lot of love happening in the chat rooms over there, and I'm glad, because if we don't have that support within our social circles, even if they're online social circles, we'll become to feel very isolated. And I know, like Minnie Paisley, she's in kindergarten. She actually has tonsillitis right now, so she is. It's kind of funny. She makes these weird voices, and it's hilarious. And it's really hard to take her seriously, but it is. And it's what do we do? Besides be there for one another, and not, be too isolated. There, as of today, she still has school on Monday if she's not too sick to go. So I'll be looking at that tomorrow about this time of night. Does she have a fever or not? If she has a fever, she's staying home. Period. And but there's a good chance that she won't be going back to school this next week, and she'll be quarantined or in lockdown, just like so many other communities are in our country and around the world. And so what does that mean? Well, for me, that means I'm going to be using a video chat to connect with some of her friends, so she can at least talk to her friends and hang out with them online. And maybe they're going to play on Barbies or ponies, or talk about not World of Warcraft, Minecraft. That's what it is that she plays. And what is it? What is that going to look like? And I know that there's been if you read any kind of sci fantasy at all, science fiction, schools of the future, a lot of them are at home, and it's more of a private school if you're going to be going to a brick and mortar type building, but most people are going to school at home. Now, society in the future, according to these books, is very different, of course. Just like looking into the past, society has been very different. So what does this mean for our future? Well, there will be social distancing. And I don't mean like it is right now, where, don't come closer than 3 feet to me. Which, if you guys saw that picture of the guy over in Europe with the big circle cutout he was wearing around, it's like, hey, don't get any closer to this to me. I get it. But in reality, we are going to need to make sure we bridge that gap in other ways. And as someone who meets periodically with people to do castings or workings or rituals or just fellowship on the pagan path, because that's a good thing. How are we going to do that in the future? Well, we're going to get through this bit, because this virus thing, this illness, is going to go away at some point, or be less of a burden to our society than it is now. And so we need to remember that. And we need to embrace our fellow person, and make sure that we are taking care of one another. So this means if you have a toilet paper in your closet and you know someone who might need some, share, by golly. I saw a meme, and it was really heartbreaking, actually, because it was this long shelf of empty, or this long rack of empty shelves, and there was this little old gal. I mean, she's barely taller than the grocery cart, and dressed up because that's what her generation did. When they go out to the grocery stores, they dress up, make sure their hair is done, and she's got the long trench coat, which I love long trench coats. I think they're awesome. But yeah, she's pushing her little cart, and there is not a single roll of toilet paper or paper products to be found. Well, odds are pretty good. Her income is very fixed, and she isn't able to buy a bunch of stuff ahead of time, and she only buys as she needs it. So here she is, probably looking at the shelf like, well, doggone it, now what? And so if you have a little extra, make sure you're taking care of your neighbors and your loved ones, or that lonely gal or lonely guy down the street that may not have anyone to help them. And honestly, folks, they will make more toilet paper. I don't really understand the whole drive to buy up a bunch of TP. No, I really don't. I think it's kind of funny and sad all at the same time. Um, so just as you're hoarding things and trying to buy up and prepare for what's could happen, um, make sure you're taking care of your neighbors. So I think first and foremost, you need to take care of your circle, whatever your circle is. Maybe that's your friends, your family, your loved ones, whatever it is, your immediate circle, the people that, if you were to have a barbecue have your best friends and families come over for a visit, that is your first circle to take care of. Those are the ones that you're going to make sure they have enough food and water and toilet paper. Do they need, you know, a drive to work, someone to watch the kids, that kind of thing? What is it that, with, that circle might need? And if they're not in the same neighborhood that you live in, which a lot of them aren't, you know, make sure you're still checking on them. And then the next group of people is the bigger group or the bigger circle. That'd probably be your neighbors. And what do they need? How can you show them love or help them out? Because in this time of fear and panic, and I gotta tell you, in a way, it feels like media-induced panic and crisis. Make sure you're taking care of your neighborhood. Maybe meet them out in the yard, each of you on each side of the fence, so you're, as far apart as you can be, and still, connect with them. Hey, do you need anything? Is there anything that I can help with? And show that love and support for your fellow man or fellow lady right in your neighborhood. And then from your neighborhood to your community to your city and then your county and then your state and then your country. That kind of, you're an onion. Those are the different layers. And then as a pagan, or even if you're not a pagan or a witch, if you have a different faith or different path that you follow, your congregation or your nucleus as far as your faith goes, make sure you're taking care of those people too. And it's okay, actually, as you're trying to help take care of these folks, to say, no, I can't help you with that thing. This is what I have available. Or you can say, no, I don't have anything extra. I'm sorry. This is what I need. And it's okay to ask for help right now. I mean, seriously. It's acceptable. It's allowable. It's allowable to ask for help actually at any time. It really is. Because sometimes we need it. Have you ever slipped on the ice and fallen down? Wouldn't it be great if someone was right there to give you a hand and help pick you up? It's real. So, as far as being a pagan or a witch is why we're here, right? We're talking about paganism and stuff. Well, make sure you're grounding out on the earth, letting that negative energy that you might have or be experiencing and such, let it flow into the earth. Let it drain out of you so that you can absorb the positive energy back from the earth to help reinforce your own personal boundaries and protections to help you. And then, if you can't do that type of grounding, just have a stress bowl where maybe you mentally it's like, oh, this is all my stress. I'm going to stick it in this bowl and put a lid on it and leave it there and walk away and do your rest of your stuff for whatever the night. And then the next morning before you get up or leave the door, take the lid off the bowl. Look in there. Is there any stress in there? No, it's gone because it's all up here. It's in your head. It's not a physical thing. So you put the lid back on, you go away. Yeah, thanks, Don. People do laugh at me when I go splat. But, so, let it go. If you are experiencing a lot of anxiety and and stress at work or being out in public, go home, literally take a shower, and wash that away. If you're experiencing water rationing, I get it, use some wet wipes. KFC ones work just fine. But just, even sometimes just letting that go is good for you. Wash it away. Wash your hands. Visualize it just going down the sink as you're washing your hands, because you know what? The best way to protect yourself from the flu or the coronavirus is wash your hands.
And drink water.
And drink water. Yep, drink water. Not really frozen energy drinks.
Yeah, no, that's not good.
Well, it's slushy almost.
That's nice.
And so yeah, make sure you're taking care of yourself. Protect yourself. Drink your fluids. Take your vitamins. All of that stuff. So yes. Yep, and in comes Don. Don says, Black Tree says drink beer. What do you think?
Well, you need something. See, because I guess there's been a study done by a Taiwanese doctor or something that said, you should take sips of water every 15 minutes or so, and if it's in your throat, it'll wash down into your stomach, and the hydrochloric acid in your stomach will kill it, and that kind of thing. So just drink water anyhow. You're supposed to.
Yes, and I see Suzanne. I know you might hate water, but water loves you. If you don't like the flavor of water, which I get, and a lot of people don't because they live in communities where their water is excessively treated, which I understand.
Excessively treated.
Slap it around, give it some chemicals. It's all good. Put frozen fruit in your water.
Lemon.
Frozen, you can freeze lemon. Actually, I would recommend quartering the lemon or slicing it up before you freeze it. It's just easier that way. I have a Myers lemon. I actually need to... No, not yet.
Don't worry about it.
I need to run through a food processor so I can add it to different things. But, yeah. So, hey, there's Mr. Don.
Oh. How's my camera?
It's fine.
Okay.
You're tipped at an angle, but that's okay. We know you're tipsy.
Wow.
That's all good.
Wow. Apparently.
Okay, you're sick.
Keep talking.
I'm sorry. I'm distracted by the... Yeah. Hey, look. I can see my besom behind you. Off to your shoulder left. Your left shoulder.
Oh yes, they are. Both of them.
Yep. So yeah, we have vodka and water with lime. Yeah, the vodka
That'll
would definitely take away any
That'll
of the bacteria that might be in your water. So
I'll have one also, thank you.
and I gotta tell you, I saw the funniest thing. The Quarantini. It's vodka.
Oh, the Quarantini, yeah.
Vodka.
With the shot of
vitamin C. Yeah.
Or,
The
airborne would
Airborne.
be good,
Yeah. Any of that. So yeah. So it just made me giggle. Yeah. Wash your hands. Gin, vodka. Actually, those are really good things to have on hand, anyways.
Yeah.
If for some reason your water does have bacteria in it, or you need
help.
to get it out of the river, and you've strained the debris out of it in the mud, it can help kill some of those other things in there that
I
might
like
give you dysentery and make you need TP.
I like a 1 to 99 part water to alcohol. That'd work.
That's not the way it works. Those are shooters.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
Ah, damn it. How about just an ice cube? Like on the rocks is what I guess they're called.
You like your scotch on the rocks?
I'll take rocks.
We were talking about falling down earlier, so.
Oh, I do that on rocks too. Anyhow.
So anyhow, yeah. But anyways, wash your hands, take care of yourselves. And often self-care means say no. No, I cannot help you. No, I don't have extras. No, I don't have the energy for that. No, I don't have time. And yeah, Suzanne, it might be me. So, yes. It's, if you are not able to help others, it is okay to say no. And don't feel guilt about it, by golly, because that's just one more thing to be stressing on. So don't. I'm just saying it now. Don't stress on stuff you can't control. So, and if y'all are having connectivity issues when hearing me, remember I live in North Idaho. I have North Idaho internet. And so that's why there's the bleep bloops. It's just the
And it's so
the system.
cold and it's so snowy outside. Welcome to third winter.
Exactly. That it is. But, it's all good. It'll be 50 by Wednesday. And so then we'll have flooding. It'll be great.
Wonderful.
Second spring, yeah.
Well, it needs to flood my pond. That would be nice.
I drove by your pond the other day. It looked fine. Anyways, so it is bottom of the hour already. We've been having too much fun being serious and stuff. So I will see you guys on the flip side. Mr. Longbeard is joining me in his house.
In his house.
Yeah, in his studio. And so we'll see you guys in a little bit, and I'll be right back. And yeah, send me emails or questions and stuff.
Lord, within the sun, as we will, so mote it be, the spell forever does. tears of the shining moon, heaven, earth, and sea. I call upon you in this hour, bring magic unto me. Brothers, oh, the cauldron cries, sing it unto me. Songs of Mother Goddess and the Father in the tree.
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between because that's what we do every Saturday night. It's a good time. Yes, I have been working on the book. Actually, I'm looking forward to being quarantined so that I can write to my little heart's content. Probably with some baking. There will probably be brownies and cookies and cakes and pies because I like to cook. And that's the best way to stay energized when you're trying to furiously stay focused and away from social media when I'm trying to write. So yeah. Over break, I was just kind of scrolling through the interwebs, and kind of just had a thought as I was scrolling, and people assume that witchcraft and being a Wiccan are the same.
Nope.
And they're not. And paganism is always religion, and it's not.
Nope.
And if you're a witch, it's a religion, and that's not true. So I figured, you know what? We've got 30 minutes of
Can
joyous
I bring something
time.
up real quick then?
What?
Well, I was having this conversation with this bloviated bag on Facebook one time, and
Okay.
somebody accused one of our Facebook friends
Mhm.
about, oh, what are you all of a sudden a pagan witch and blah blah blah, and somebody said something about how she and also it alluded to how she worships Satan and things like this. And I made this statement. I said, pagans and heathens don't necessarily believe in Satan, because you would have to believe in the Christian God to believe in Satan.
Yeah.
So this gal comes back and says, "That's not true. You're spreading lies." I said, "They don't." She sent me something about. Gal sent me something about how Lilith is pagan and how she's a demon, a pagan demon. And she sent me this link. And you know where she sent me? She sent me to the Jewish mythology page
Mm-hmm.
for Lilith. And what is the first thing it says in there? Lilith is a Jewish mythological demon. I'm sorry, isn't Judaism and Christianity in general and Islam, aren't they Abrahamic?
Yeah.
I guess maybe the word Abrahamic threw her off. I said, because those are Abrahamic faiths. She's like, you do a half a minute of research and you tell people, you act like you know everything. I'm like, I wanted to just tell her she knew nothing. She was sending me to these mysticism and occultic web pages, and I'm like, look, all of them are referring to Abrahamic beliefs,
Yes.
not pagan.
Right. And there's a lot of assumption that if you're a pagan or a witch or a practicing a Wiccan practitioner, I'm not saying that right. Anyways,
Oh,
of course
your
you're
water.
Satanism.
I found your moon water. It's in that drawer right there.
Yeah, there's some there too.
Can I have my?
Your cuff.
Yes, my cuff. It's awesome.
Yeah, Taco is definitely treating you guys very well. What are you braving Taco with? Anyways, so, good night, Brent. Sleep well. So, all right. So I am an eclectic pagan. I've said this a couple times, and I guess maybe to really explain that means, what that means, it means for me, at least, for me, not necessarily anybody else that is even eclectic, that means I believe in a whole variety of gods and goddesses. So technically, yes, I believe in the Abrahamic God. but he's not my.
He's just a part of another pantheon.
He is just part of another pantheon, absolutely. And just like Satan is part of that particular pantheon, which Christians don't really acknowledge that they have a pantheon, but they do. They've got God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Ghost, which is three. They have Satan for primary gods and deities, and then they've got a whole bushel full of demigods. I mean,
Saints.
and well, no, not even the saints. I'm talking about the angels.
Oh, yeah, good point.
You know, the angels,
Yeah.
the demons. Those are all, I would consider a high level demon is pretty much a demigod. So, you know, and then filter it on down. You've got the saints and the anti-saints, and those are all real. It's a thing, and it's a pantheon. That's all there is to it. So the Christian pantheon is not my gig, not my jam. That doesn't mean I don't believe in it. Just means it's not my thing. Now, as far as Islam goes, yeah, that's a pantheon also. And then I'm not sure. Can you talk to Brent and see what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, and then there's Judaism. There's actually a pantheon within Judaism. It's just smaller. And talk about mysticism in their formal dress robes. Okay, so if you have ever seen Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, in the scene where the Nazis are doing the ritual to open the Ark, and they've got the French bad guys wearing all the robes and everything, and he's got this kind of chest piece, if you will, that's got looks like gems or stones or something on it. Well, even within Judaism, they put emphasis and acknowledge the power and strength of various crystals and stones, and they would also make, you know, their clothing and different parts of their ceremonial wear would have these different crystals and gems on them because it helped channel the energy as they needed it. And yeah, it's just another part.
What is your microphone rubbing on?
Myself, I don't know. There. Is that better?
Yeah, actually it is.
Okay. And anyway, so, you know, there's all these different aspects of the Abrahamic faiths that are in the various different pantheons within them. And I'm not even talking about the different sects, SECTS.
Yes.
That would be, you know, your Lutheran, your Catholic, your Baptist, your et cetera, et cetera. Those are different subcults, I guess, if you want to put it that way. And just like, so within, say, Norse tradition, so you got your heathenry, you've got your Aesir, you know these more than I do, don't you?
What are you talking about?
The different Nordic traditions. You got your heathens, you got your Aesir, you got your... Anyways, the different ones. I don't have my notes in front of me, so there. Yay, thank you, Memcat. You're lovely. I love you. MCAT subbed my Patreon.
Nice.
I can't wait to look. I will send you something. Thank you. Anyways, and within the Greek, Roman, and etc. on different pantheons, look at all the different gods. There's Zeus, there's Artemis, there's Hera, there's all of those. And then, and each of them had different churches. Then you go and you worship them or take your different things to them. So that is that tradition. So I believe in all of those. They all, to me, are real. They all have validity to me. It doesn't matter what walk of faith you have. You know, I can acknowledge the validity of your spirituality, and whomever God or whichever God it is that you worship. It took me a little bit to get there, and I'm sorry. So, yes, I believe in the Abrahamic God. He just is not my. He's not my guy.
He's not your go-to.
Yeah, he's not my go-to. That would be Kanunos. Anyways, who's been there longer than. Yeah. Anyways, so for me, It's a spiritual path. It's a spiritualism. It is not a religion,
Hmm.
because religion comes with dogma and restrictions
Hmm.
and structure
Right.
and walls and
Right.
boundaries, and you have to toe this line to get this, and you have to do this kind of thing to get that. And for me, I am more interested in your spirituality. How do you believe? What is the core of you? Rather than in your spiritual path. Why do you do what you do? Why do you ask this deity for that help, or why do you go to that ancestor for this thing? That to me has more value and more interest than your dogma. And it doesn't matter what path you're on.
And Christians say this all the time, and a lot of the Abrahamic faiths say this. Some of them don't. A few of them don't. But basically, they say our God is a loving God, but He wants you to do it for yourself. So you go back to that parable of the man sitting on the top of his house, on the roof of his house, and it's flooding, and somebody comes by and says, "Hey, come on in. We'll get you out of here." And he says, "No, no, no, I'm fine. I'm waiting for something." And a little bit later, somebody paddles by and says, "Hey, jump in the boat. Let's get out of here." And he's like, "No, no, I'm waiting for something."
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually he drowns. The moral of the story is he was waiting for God to come and save him. Well, God only helps those that help themselves. So you should have jumped in that boat. You should have got, in that helicopter, whatever it was that came by, because He's not going to help you unless you help yourself. Well, my point is that a lot of people believe that if you pray, you'll the Holy Spirit will come into you and fix all your problems. No, and you mentioned, well, why do you venerate certain deities or certain ancestors? And the honest to God truth is I'm just kind of too lazy. I'm more heathen. I expect myself to do it, and if I'm rewarded later for it, that's my blessing.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just hard headed. I don't
You're hard-headed.
know.
I can't even think that with a straight face.
No. But so you talk about veneration. That's great, because even heathens had, they went and they fellowshipped with the pagans in the area, or they had their own little traditions, whether it be, harvest, they'd do harvest, they'd go to Beltane and they'd fellowship with these people and join in and be part of the community. But in from what my understanding is, they'd stand apart in a way and say, we're fellowshipping with you in the sense of we're showing our support, our love, that kind of thing, like you were talking about earlier about share your stupid toilet paper. And but they kind of stood apart in the sense that they didn't really necessarily venerate or appeal to a deity. They believed that their deity said, do it yourself, and if you do it well, I might go ahead and give you a blessing or whatever that is. And then that's where you pour a little out for the homies. You give back.
Right. As a way of saying thank you.
Thank you. Exactly.
Yeah, like when I make wine, the fruit, I often leave it at the base of a tree. Often I take it out to my oak tree that's in the back. Sometimes I leave it with the plum tree or the elderberry trees, or I pick a tree and that's what I do.
Just make sure the deer and the Bigfoot don't steal all the plums.
Yeah,
I hear
well,
Bigfoot loves wild plums.
well, he needs to pay me in huckleberries then.
Oh, I like the way you're thinking.
And Bigfoot can have the plums if he brings me some
Huckleberries.
huckleberries or boysenberries, so that I can make other wines or jams or things. Anyways, So-
Jams.
so yes, you can be a pagan and not be religious,
Mhm.
because most pagans are at their very core spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and I say spirit, and I say spiritual because they may not actually follow a deity, They may not appeal to a deity to help with their workings and whatnots. They may just be themselves, and they put the energy and they do their thing. So
energy in their works.
yeah, and so their works or their rituals or their spells or their witchcraft is actually, or their crafting, they're using their internal energies or maybe the elemental energies, and that's definitely a thing. Now, Wicca is a religion generally, and it's recognized as a religion here in the U.S.
Yes.
And as such, it's receives certain protections in the U.S.
So they can make money.
They get some tax breaks, I guess. But they take better care of their altar boys.
Oh
So,
my God.
anyways, so, anyways, while Don loses his mind over there, witches are not necessarily
Oh goodness.
religious either. Often, witches can be pagan, or they can be Wiccan, or they can be none of that. And again, they're using their internal energies or the elemental energies of the world around us to power what they're doing, their workings, their crafts, their rituals, their tools that they use, that kind of thing. I mean, there's energy in everything around us, and sometimes, that energy, you can channel it to different things. So, yes. You do not have to be a witch to be a pagan. You do not have to be a pagan to be a witch. Not all Wiccans practice witchcraft, and not all witches are Wiccan. I feel like I'm telling Dr. Seuss fairy or nursery rhyme.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, seriously, there's a new book in my future. The Pagan Seuss.
I'll
So
have to think on that one.
yeah, think on that one. I know you can do it. So
Which sounds like a Dr. Seuss book.
yeah, it does. It sounds like a Dr. Seuss book. So if someone says, or like, I wear a little raven's head on my necklace, generally, pretty often. For me, because it's, I feel the raven is very representative of Hecate, and also, to an extent, also Cernunnos, which is the raven. And Mr. Don over there is an Odin dude. Actually, he could sport the raven also because Odin does have 2 ravens. What are their names? Pop quiz?
Hugh and Mew. I can't pronounce them.
Yeah, Hugin and Munin, basically.
Yeah, okay.
Your
Thought and memory.
Yeah, thought and memory. Which, those are pretty important things. So, others folks might wear the Thor's hammer. They may wear the world tree, any or moons, or I don't know. There's anything. We wear these things as much as Christians wear them, but often not as publicly or noticeably as Christians do, because it's more acceptable for Christians to wear a cross than it is for a pagan to wear a star, which makes no sense. I don't get it. So yeah. Anyways, so remember, spirituality is more important than religion, unless you're really into religion, I guess. And your spiritual path is often not going to be a straight one. There's a meme. Yeah, I guess it's a meme. There's an image I share all the time, and it's technically it's success. And it says like what you think success looks like, and you are down in one corner. You are down in one corner, and success is up in the other corner, and it's a straight line. That's what you think it is.
This is how I get
And then
there.
the reality looks more like a Gordian knot from you to success. Well, in a way, that's also my interpretation of the path of life. Life is very rarely a straight line. Oh, Chris, where's the Eye of Ra? Yes, Eye of Ra is a big deal. Or Horus, big deal. And so, yeah, life is rarely in a straight line. Often, It is full of ups and downs and all arounds, twisty turns and staggers and trips and fall downs and face plants and yeah, all of that. And the Gordian knot. And so you're keep in mind that, just because you are not sure where you're at because you can't see where you're at, it's probably because you're coming to a bend in the road and it's not a test of your faith or it's not a test of your religion or your spirituality. It's just you are at that point on your pagan path or your spiritual path, regardless of what your tradition is, that you're coming to a turn in your world. That's all. It may be a good turn. It may not be. It may be more of an adventure than you really wanted it to be. So, yeah. Remember, spirituality is more important. And, yes, you can be a pagan witch upon a Wiccan path. And that sounds like a poem.
Apparently, you can be a Christian.
You can be a Christian witch too,
as well, so.
Which is a much harder niche to find guidance in because you're often ostracized by both those, especially on the Wiccan witch, but the witch path, if you're a witch, and also by those who are Christian because Christians have a hard time believing in witchcraft because of all those different passages in the Bible, even though. I'm sorry, if you're taking communion and the transmogrification of the wine or juice into the blood of Christ, I'm sorry, that's witchcraft. And
that's cannibalism.
Yeah, there's that too. Or the little wafer that tastes
the
like
body of Christ.
Yeah, that's supposed to be the body of Christ, and you're supposed to do this ritual to be absolved of your sins. If that's not, that's a ritual, guys. Can't get a whole lot more witchy than drinking blood and eating flesh. Yeah, I'm sorry. Christianity is really kind of, to me, it is a cult of death. So, so yeah. Pharmacy wants to know what they miss. Yeah,
the
I just
entire show.
Yeah, you just a little cannibalism. That's all.
So, what does it mean if I'm supposed to eat like a bowl of communion wafers and wine? Was I bad?
Good Lord, why would you do that?
It's communion toast crunch.
I have never had that much tequila in my life to even think about doing something like that.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, gnome squatch. What's gnome squatch?
Gnome squatch is a chatter. He's in.
Oh, hi, gnome squatch.
Oh, gnome squatch.
Oh, yes, leave beer under the tree. Yes.
If it disappears, it wasn't me.
So, yeah, and just be aware of the world around you. Take care of your family. If you do have a plague mask and you are willing to wear it and take a picture, send it to me and I'll put it on my Facebook page.
Oh, there you go.
And I'll make, if there's a lot of them, I'll make a collage and I'll just have it play at break times or something. I don't know.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
So yes.
That would be cool.
So that's wildpaisley@gmail.com. That's WILDEPAISLEY@gmail.com. I want to see pictures of your plague masks.
Your plague. You just dress up as a plague doctor.
Yeah, dress up as a plague doctor.
Nostradamus was a plague doctor.
Yeah. So yeah, put the plague mask on and take a picture. Send it to me. Yes, and I will. Yeah, I'm excited.
That's
I want this.
Cool. That's kind of
so yes,
cool.
No, I think it'll be fun. Yeah.
I'll have to get a plague mask now.
Yeah, sure. Do you know how to paper mache? Hey, Carrie and Chris in chat. So yeah, cautious. Wow, chat room's filling up. Who's next on TFR, by the way?
That would be Duke. World Bigfoot Radio. He's got Caveman on again tonight.
Caveman.
Yazi. I forgot his name for some reason.
Caveman.
Anyhow, but yeah, Caveman Yazi.
Yazi with Duke.
Oop.
So yeah, if you're on TFR, make sure you're stay tuned for Mr. Duke with Caveman as his special guest. I swear, some of the names we come up with, I love names. Have you ever looked at our chat rooms to see what everybody's names are?
Yeah, all the time.
Usernames make me giggle. So, anyways, yes, wildpaisley@gmail.com. Send me your pictures. I want to see them. I Plague Doctors gardening, Plague Doctors scooping snow, Plague Doctors
washing
the car.
Doctors washing the car.
You know, exactly. So, I feel a calendar coming on here.
Plague Doctor running down the street with a case of toilet paper.
Right? Oh, scrubbing in with hand sanitizer.
Yeah,
So, yes, bacon. Yes, bacon. Plague Doctor with bacon. So, yes.
Absolutely.
So, thanks for joining tonight. Be nice to your friends, your family, your loved ones. Look out for them. Check on them. Make sure they're okay in the coming weeks. Stay tuned for Duke. Send me your pictures. wildpaisley@gmail.com. Merry meet and merry part and merry meet again. I hope you guys have a great night. It was fun hanging out with y'all.
Good night again.
Good night, all.
As we will, so mote it be the spell forever